9 o'clock at night. I'm just making the milk up for the lambs. As you can see, I've got quite a few bottles. We've got, how many lambs are we bottle feeding? It was 11. I think we've lost 1 or 2, so it's probably around the 9-10 mark. I haven't done a video for a little while because all I've done is really sheep and that is it. Same thing day in, day out. Last week and a half, 2 weeks, we haven't done a lot because lambs, well, we've got about 5-6 ewes left. They're all crossing their legs at the moment. I presume they're on the next cycle, so we're just waiting for them to come through and lamb, and they'll probably all lamb at the same time. We've had a bit of a change around out there. We've made the pen bigger, made the pen a lot bigger, extended it out the shed, out the front of the shed a bit, just to give the ewes and lambs a bit of space. So we've had trouble with them piling up on top of each other under heat lamps, and suffocating each other. And we've actually had a pretty bad season this year with lambs dying, and for all sorts of reasons. Sort of some reasons being sort of like one's under the heat lamp, being born at night, and I've gone out in the morning and been 2 with the bags over their heads and suffocated when they've been born. And just a mixture of things, 1 or 2 just out of the blue. But I must admit, we must have lost almost 1/3 of our lambs this year. We've also lost 1 ewe, one of the Beltex ewes. I was worried about them, but I didn't think we'd have this problem. But she had 2 massive lambs, massive lambs, bigger, same size if not bigger than some of the Suffolks. And she had a real terrible lambing in both of them. They're alive when they came out, but we tried everything we could to keep them alive and they just weren't having it. So they both died. We gave the ewe better mocked antibiotics and sort of tried to keep her going. She went all off her food and water, but she started nibbling again. So we let her out a single pen and put her in the main pen with all the others. And about 2 days later, found her dead in the pen as well, which is a big shame because they're new to this year. So this is their first lot of lambs. Both lambs have died and she's died, so that was a complete loss to us, which is a shame. But it's not about the money for us, it is just as much about the welfare for the animals and the animals having a good life. And it is a real shame, and it's been a very gutting year. I'm going to shut up now and sort of show you how I make the milk up. Run the tap until it gets hot, because it takes a while to get hot in this house. Put a bit of cold on it, try and get it to temperature. It's probably not the easiest and quickest way of doing it, but it works. Just get a jug. Probably do it all in one big batch, to be honest. What I do, 500 mils to 100 grams of powder. So what I do is 1, 2, 4. I'll see what that does. Sorry if you can't hear very well. The washing machine's going and the tap and that. So I'll put all the water in the bucket. Is it 4? Yeah, it's 4. So 4 jugs of 500 mils into the bucket, so I need 400 grams of powder. I've just got the weigh scales. I'm just going to grab the powder. So it's 270. I'll take a 40 for that, so that is 230. Do maths. About 230. Plus whatever this is, which is a little bit over. A little bit over. No, that's about just right actually. Might be about 10 grams out, but that won't matter. Last year we did have these blue buckets with teats on them for bigger lambs. What it was is it had two sides to it and a gap in the middle so you could sort of slot it over a gate. Didn't work very well. It didn't work very well because I shouldn't turn that on, should I? Because what it did is it'd sit on the gate and it'd flex about and eventually it'd snap in half, and the teats were made of a harder sort of rubber than that, and the lambs just couldn't get the hang of it. So this year we've actually we go to a place called Roland's Farm Shop over at St Ives in Cambridgeshire, and they've got loads of stuff there, and what we've got is this, and it's got very similar teats to what's on the bottles, and I'm hoping they're going to get on quite well with it. Tried it once, but the teats needed poking because they're not letting a lot of milk through, so they just need slitting open a little bit more. But it's got these two little metal hooks on the back, and just can slot it onto a hurdle rather than feeding it over each side, and it looks a lot better made and a lot sturdier, and that cost £29.99, so 30 quid. So hopefully they're going to get on a lot better with that rather than what we had last year. It'll be a lot better out in the field. Well, not last year, it was the year before, because last year we only had 2 bottle fed lambs, and we sold them on quite early. The family who lives in the village have a couple of acres, and they brought a couple of bottle feds off of us, and that was it. Like, but at the moment it's just easier to bottle feed them one at a time. I can see what milk each lamb's having, just keep a close eye on them while some of them are still a little bit small. Some of the bigger ones will probably could go onto that bucket now. The thing is, if I'm sitting there feeding little lambs, they'll rather come over to me than feeding off the bucket, which will let the milk go cold, and then it'll just be a waste of time. So at the moment I'm just going to bottle feed them more. I will eventually get them onto that, but not quite yet. As I was saying, we haven't had a great time this lambing. We've only lost the one ewe, so makes it a lot easier for us because my dad has we have our straw contracting business, so we have a lot of second grade straw and tops and bottoms which aren't any good for power station or for cattle feed. So Dad lets us use as much of that as we want, because there's always enough, there's never not enough. So we're quite lucky in that respect that we haven't had to buy any bedding or anything. And also hay, we have a large amount of hay and silage that Dad would never get through it all. It's not a waste of feed because we use it for the sheep and Dad lets us use it. But we don't get through that much really in a year, well, in a lambing season, so he's not that fussed really. Most of it I'm actually, at the moment, they weren't actually getting on very well with this hay because some of it's been quite rough because it's been grass margins and things like that. So the sheep have been pretty picky with it. Don't know, I ain't done quite enough, so I'll do another 250. Do another 250, just grab some milk powder. So I don't know whether anybody else has had this, but our dogs absolutely love the taste of milk powder. All 3 collies do it. All 3 collies have done it. Kept it down here and they actually chewed a hole through the bag and started eating the milk powder. So I put it down in the downstairs shower now and just shut the doors on the shower, but I just left them open and found him in there trying to sneak a bit. That'll be plenty. Yeah, they've got a real taste for it. I don't know why, but they seem to like it, so I just keep it locked away from them. Bloody expensive stuff really. It's £40 for a 20kg bag. It's still worth doing it, and we've worked it out and it is still worth feeding the lambs up rather than selling them. We've got the time to feed them up, so it works alright for us. No, this year we're going to have less lambs to sell. I know they are saying because of Brexit and everything that's going on with the coronavirus and that, that UK lamb prices are going to be going up pretty high, which will be a brilliant thing for us because we have had such a terrible year. We are looking at doing some meat boxes as well, half and full lamb meat boxes. We've had a look. We're going to give a try out on 10 lambs, see how that goes. I've spoken to Evans over the other side of Bedford. My dad, hang on. My dad used to use them years ago when we used to do our own beef. They've been very good with us in the past. I actually rang them up today to find out prices. They're fairly reasonable prices. It's a kill and cut, so they'll kill and butcher the meat up, which will be good. Less work for us. They don't provide boxes, but they do bag it all up and seal the bags. Where's my boots? It's right out where my wellies. So they do bag it up. Well, they bag it up and we'll go and pick it up and then put it into boxes. We're probably going to get some boxes printed with the Little Oak Farm logo on it, which me and Chloe have designed. It's got a sheep and a ewe on the front of it. If you've seen our Little Oak Farm page on Instagram, you'd have seen the logo. If you haven't, you want to go and have a look at it. It's got all sort of, rather than the JWB contract inside of it, it is the sort of farm and the cattle and the pigs and the sheep more than anything. Sorry, I'm just sticking my waterproofs on. Not expecting any of them to land tonight, but you never know. Just whack my jacket on. But yeah, so sorry, just put that down, just put my jacket on. So yeah, if you want to look at that page, it is Little Oak Farm, all in lowercase, and then it's _lamb, and that's on Instagram. And you'll see our page on there. I think the link to the Facebook page is also on there, and all like the contact details for me and Chloe if anybody is interested in lamb boxes in the area. I think we're doing £70 for half a lamb and £130 for a whole lamb. We've had a look at other people's lamb box prices. They all seem pretty decent. It seems a fair price. Seeing it's our first year, we sort of put the price down a little bit because we don't have much clue on what we're doing yet. So we sort of our starter year and see how it goes. Do 10 lambs. If we get demand for more, we might do more. We'll see what time we've got, because it'll be May, June when they're ready, and that is the start of hay. So we will see how that goes. Might do a few more depending on what time we have. But yeah, that hopefully will bring a bit more income for us. So if we've worked it out, for about 10 lambs, it'll be about an extra for 10 lambs compared to taking them to market. It's going to take a bit more work and a bit more running about and that. We will do a delivery for like Bedfordshire area, Sandy, Biggleswade, and sort of local villages, possibly sort of the edge of this side of Bedford if people are willing to pay a little bit extra for delivery. But we can organise that if people are interested. But we'll see how it goes, and we worked it out, and we should be about £200 to £250 better off doing it this way. There will be a bit more work to it, but then we're not driving all the way to Frapston, we're driving only to other side of Bedford a couple of times, so it should work out a little bit better. We're still going to take some to market, because we can't box up all of them, we won't have the time to do all of it, so we'll only do 10, then if it all goes well maybe another 10 on top, so 20 in total this year, and take it from there. We were thinking about possibly getting a few more Beltex and a Beltex tup and running our Beltex as a separate flock for the meat boxes, but depending, we haven't had that many Beltex lambs, so we've probably got enough to do 10 boxes from them, but if we're to do more it'll probably be the Suffolk crosses, but yeah, we'll see how it goes really. What I'll do is I'll just shut this off, walk over there because it's pretty dark and you won't be able to see a lot. I probably can't see a lot at the moment, and I'll switch it back on whilst I'm bottle feeding the lambs, and yeah, I'll see you in a little bit then.